What's good? How are you guys doing? We're going to be taking a look at XRP today, S&P 500, along with all of your coin requests. And what we see with XRP today is we are above all of the major daily EMAs. And I really like how we're grinding up off of this 200-day moving average. Do you guys see this? Okay, now this is XRP over here on the hourly time frame. And like I said in my XRP update, I just want to see a move above 257 and 259 in order to confirm a move towards these higher retracements sitting at 271, 289, and $3.11. Okay, this is the wave count right here. We had our leading diagonal for your wave 1, a WXY correction for your wave 2, and now we're starting our next leg to the upside. Now, like I was showing in the XRP update today, this daily time frame is pretty strong. Like, we're just printing a doji. Like, this daily candle closes in 7 hours, so judging by the way it looks, I think we're going to push towards the highs of yesterday and fill in this wick towards 265. But yeah, this is our Wyckoff reaccumulation range right here. And then on the weekly time frame, we're above all of the weekly EMAs as well. So pretty bullish. How are you guys doing? We'll take a look at ADA, API 3 for sure. ATTH. ET says ET is saying this bull cycle is very lame for altcoins, not even close to the last bull run in 2021. Seems like we are in the wave 5 of the bigger picture for BTC and altcoins. Yes, you are right. We are within a wave 5 of 5. Like if we take a look at total 3, for example, this is total 3 right here. As you guys can see, the correction is finished and we are reaching towards these higher retracements. We're actually reaching towards yesterday's highs. Yesterday's highs was at 940.9 billion, right at the 61.8% fib. This daily candle is starting to reach towards those highs, so there is a possibility we just continue on up towards 1 trillion, up to 1.08 trillion. And like one of the members was saying, we are within wave 5 of 5, but just remember that wave 5 of 5 will be the most explosive wave. So although it may have seemed like a very boring bull run where a lot of coins didn't break out from their range lows, and it was mostly just the ISO coins, it's likely within this wave we're going to start seeing those altcoins escape their range. Now, not all altcoins will reach their all-time high. It may just go up to the retracement, to their macro retracements and then top out. But regardless, I still do think that a lot of the altcoins that have been ranging will eventually break out of their range within 2025. So yeah, this is your ABC down for your wave 4. This is your 5-wave move to the upside. Okay. Back in December, that was wave 3 of 5. Like this, wave 3 of 5. This is your wave 4. And now we're going up for your wave 5 of 5 here. Now, when you take a look at total 3 on the linear chart, this is exactly what a blow off top should look like. Okay? Like if you take a look at the sentiment chart or sentiment cycle diagram on Google, or just type in parabola diagram, you'll see that the wave 5 is where where most of the gains are made. And from the current price, which is sitting at 924 billion, I think there will be a almost $1 trillion liquidity injection into the market, which would take us at around 1.8 trillion. But you definitely want to be cautious once we get into this region over here. So yeah, this is total 3. It looks pretty good. I think we're headed up for your wave 5 of 5. Coming here on the 4-hour time frame, right? On total 3. Looks like we're trying to break out of this small time frame range over here. So we'll see how this plays out during the stream. Let's go back to XRP over here, and then we're going to take a look at all of your coin requests. But yeah, this is XRP. It's looking pretty strong. Remember, this is the level we want bulls to get over, 257 and 259 right here. If we can't get above this level, or even if we see a 4-hour rejection off that level, then it's likely this would be a B wave, come down for a very quick C down to these levels, and then revert back up like very fast. That's what I'm thinking. But judging by the way total 3 looks, I would say it's more likely than not that we go ahead and get above these 2 levels and then fill in this daily wick that we had yesterday. Right over here. You see? So the current daily candle is not bearish at all. Actually, these are usually you usually see these types of candles before we go higher. So yeah, I think it's going to fill in this wick. This is my bias. More importantly, let's take a look at BTC before we dive into the coin requests. And as you guys can see, we are stalling out a little bit off the 88.6% fib. You may go sideways here, right? You may go sideways here, or range, even form a pennant, or we'll just go right above 105, 269, right up to the highs here at 109, 220. But yeah, 3-day looks bullish on BTC. The last 3-day candle was a long-legged doji, and now it looks like we're reaching for the highs for this 3-day candle. But it closes in about 2 days and 8 hours, so we still have some time. So we'll see how that plays out. Santos is saying, I'm happy to catch a live. Nice. That's great, guys. Okay, let's take a look at some of these coin requests here. Okay. Let's take a look at Doge. I really like Doge. I like the way the structure looks. So let's take a look here. So this is Doge. We actually called the bottom on Doge in the last live stream we did, right? We just came down to the 38.2% fib here. So we can delete all of these alternate trajectories. Okay, you see how we came down to the 382, and now we're rallying back towards the 200-day moving average. This was your right shoulder. It just wasn't as deep as this one, right? See? Came down to the 382 and then popped off. Now, when we take a look here on the at Doge on the daily time frame, it wouldn't surprise me that we go ahead and reach above 70 cent towards $1.06 to $1.41. The reason we're seeing these two levels is because this is the 2.618 and 3.618 extension when we take a fib from the December high down to the April low. Right now, this does look like a ending expanding diagonal where it's just a 3-wave move but you have a 5-wave move in which the waves overlap each other for the C wave within your larger B to the upside. So I think Doge is going to do something like this. Once you get above the 200-day moving average, then things will really start to pick up pace. However, we're just consolidating here, and these are the interim fibs right over here. Okay, so the next point of interest for Doge would be at this 200-day moving average, but I think we get above it and go towards the 50% at 30 cent. Okay, we're also above all of the 4-hour EMAs and daily EMAs for Doge. Okay, so let me see here. S&P 500 is looking pretty good. Yesterday it gapped up above the 200-day moving average, and it's very bullish today. It's actually above the 78.6% fib. So like I said in yesterday's S&P 500 update, if we get above the 786 here at 58.29, then it's very likely we'll move up to this supply zone sitting at around 6,000 to 6,100. Maybe even stall out here, form a right shoulder, and then continue on up with the trend. But considering we are above the 200-day moving average, we can deny the possibility that we were going to see a rejection off of the death cross. So if you guys don't remember, we were talking about this death cross that the S&P had, but I was saying that it's unlikely that it plays out, and it's more likely that it actually, the bottom formed right before the death cross with this piercing line reversal candlestick on the 200-day moving, with the piercing line reversal candlestick on the weekly time frame. You guys see this? How we pierced this low and then we popped up. So yeah, I think the S&P 500 is going to go for one more leg higher to around 64 to 6600. Okay, so let's take a look at some more coins here. PulseX, very bullish on PulseX. So this is the chart here I made on PulseX. I think I made it on this chart right here. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is just a huge pennant for a B wave. This is your A wave to the upside on PulseX. And this whole move is your B wave. This is over, let me see, about 2 years of accumulation, so 717 days. And now what we see here on the small time frame is a break above the 200-day moving average. And it looks like we are coming towards these higher retracements, okay, at 40399 and 4045. Like I said in the last PulseX video, if we did manage to even get up to these fib levels, then it's very likely this was the bottom right over here on March 30th. Coming down here to the 4-hour time frame on PulseX, this does look like a leading diagonal. You have your ABC down for your wave 2, and now we're coming up for a wave 3. But what this is telling us is that it's likely that PulseX has bottomed along with the rest of the ecosystem. Like even when we take a look at incentive token over here, we do see that we did call the bottom in the last stream. I was pointing out that this is a classic power of 3 setup where you have accumulation, manipulation, and distribution to the upside. You'd mainly want to look to take profits at around 16 to 25, simply because that is the 702 and the 786 retracement from the May 2023 high down to the December 2023 low. It's very likely, well, I would say it's likely we get above 25, but just to be safe, you'd want to look to scale out right over here. Okay, this is your accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Okay. Okay, this is the power of 3 setup right here. Looks like this. Okay. Okay, so this is incentive token. PLS also looks great. This is PLS. As you guys can see, this is just pure Wyckoff accumulation. Okay. We completed our spring on March 25th, and our test was on May 5th. Sorry, March 30th was the spring, and May 5th was the test. And now we go for expansion. But let's go back to XRP over here, and then we'll dive into some more coins. It's holding strong above the 200 day. Along with all of the daily EMAs. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at ADA. Thank you so much, Pew. I really appreciate the super chat. When we take a look at ADA on the high time frame, we do see that it's within a macro leading diagonal. I'll show you guys over here. Very bullish on ADA. Okay. Right, this is your wave 1, your wave 2, 3, this is your 4, and then you have your wave 5 up here. Okay, something like this. And then for each of the waves, they subdivide into 3. That's what I'm thinking here for ADA. Notice how the macro waves are overlapping. So what that means is that this wave over here, this explosive wave, will likely be your wave 1. Then we have an ABC down for your wave 2 before we go in for your wave 3 on the macro perspective, right? This is just when we break down from here, this will likely just be a bear trap. But what we can do to find these targets is simply just take a fib from the 2021 high down to this low. And you want to take a look at the 1.618, 1.786, and we can take a look at some higher values as well, like the 2.786 and the 2.618. Okay. Okay, so lots of confluence around this area on ADA. So this would be your TP1. Or sorry, this would be your TP3. We'll put this as TP3 because it's at the top of this wedge. This would be your TP2, and then you have your TP3 right here. Or sorry, TP1 right here. So from 4 to 470, 5 to 517 to 576, and 640 to 794. That's your TP1, 2, and 3. Okay, so as you guys can see, it's just a bunch of ABCs within this huge leading diagonal. Okay, this is a HBAR over here. And like I was showing you guys, HBAR is just doing Wyckoff reaccumulation. This over here was your spring. Notice how you had a creak to the downside over here. And then you had a slam down below this psychological support, and then a reversion back above it. Okay, so now we're just working our way up through these fibs, and it's very likely that we'll make our way to the top of the range, sitting at 0.356, like just around here. And then we'll go in for the last wave, sitting at around 83 cents up to $1.26. Okay, as you guys can see, HBAR is just within a macro channel in which the waves are overlapping each other. Okay, very similar structure to that of ADA. It's just that ADA, the structure is bigger, like it's more like the price is more spread out, and there's more history, while HBAR it's very compact. So I think we're going to see a move up to the top of this channel here. You may even see a little bit of a deviation, and then you have your push down for the bear market. So that's HBAR. Looks pretty good. Let's go back to XRP over here, see how it's doing. Okay, yeah, XRP looks pretty good here on the 4-hour. Looks pretty strong. Okay, the hourly is pushing. I think it's going to push up to this level right here at 257 and 259. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Glad to have you in this live. We can definitely take a look at Dia, no problem. And I appreciate that, Bargav, for the super chat. We'll take a look at AVAX. Okay, so let's take a look at Dia and AVAX. Okay, so this is Dia right here. This does look like a Wyckoff accumulation range. As you guys can see, we have just been ranging sideways for about a little bit over 1,000 days. These are all of the retracements right here. So if we can get a daily close or even a 4-hour close above this level right here at 0.64, then it's very likely we'll head towards the next retracement levels. This actually does look like a wave 1 to the upside, and this was your running flat for your wave 2, and now we're going in for your third leg to the upside. This will either be a wave 3 or a wave C, so something like this. And we do have equal high buy side liquidity right here at $5.80. So what this means in layman's terms is there is market participants who are putting their sell stops above these highs, especially when you have equal highs. So this is your EQHBSL. So we may do something like this, or it may just simply be an ABC correction to the upside, where this is your A wave, this is your B, and then we come up for a C wave like this. What you can also do is take a fib from this high here at 132 down to this low at 27 cent and take a look at all of these extensions. Notice how the 2.618 perfectly lines up with the 786 when we take a fib from this high down to this low. See how this perfectly lines up? So we have confluence there. Okay. So this is your TP. That's your TP1. This is your TP2. And save some coins just in case it goes ahead and takes out this equal high buy side. Okay, so something like this. Okay, that's DIA. Now, instead of going up, you can even put your TP3 right at the highs, and the reason for that is because it may just come up to this supply zone and then stall out. Like it may just come up to this supply right here. And then forms a right shoulder, like this would be your left shoulder. This is your head, and then this is your right shoulder here. So you could even put your TP3 right here at these highs, or you scale out a little bit more once we get up to this supply, sitting at 4 to 580. Okay, let's take a look at AVAX. Okay, AVAX is looking pretty good. We actually called the bottom in the Discord on AVAX. It is starting its wave 3 to the upside. And I do see a move towards $83 for a 1-to-1 extension of this move going back to 2023. So from September to December of 2023, if we just take this measurement and then copy and paste it, we would see this would be a 1-to-1 extension towards this level at the 786. Now, it's either that this is an ABC correction, and we stall out there and then come down, or it continues on higher. And instead of an ABC correction, it's actually a wave 3. So this would be a wave 1, a wave 2. You have your third, fourth, and fifth wave, something like this. Okay, but you'd mainly want to look to take profit here at 83 bucks, like I was showing you guys. So right over here, 83 bucks. 126, and then these two levels right here. Okay, those would be your TP levels. So this is either doing a wave C to the upside or a wave 3. And as you guys can see, this was just a flat pattern where you have a 3 wave move down in your A, a 3 up in your B, and then a 5 wave move to the downside within your C. Then if we take a look here at the hourly time frame, this was simply an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And we came down to backtest it right over here on, actually it was today, May 13th. Left shoulder, head, and then your right shoulder. Okay, let's take a look at QNT over here. I think we take a look at QNT every time we do a stream. I noticed that. Okay, so I did mark out on QNT this supply zone. You see this red region over here? One sec, it's just loading up here. Okay, so this supply zone right here, you see how we're finding resistance off of it? And we did come down to the 23.6% fib. So we may continue to see a rise here towards the higher extensions. I think we do, considering total 3 is trying to reach for yesterday's highs. So this is total 3 right here. We're reaching towards yesterday's highs, and then on the RSI, we have a little bit of hidden bullish divergence, where you have a higher low but then a lower low on the RSI. Hence why we're seeing a nice push up. Hence why we're seeing a nice push up today. Okay, so this is QNT. Taking a look here on the daily time frame for QNT, I think we are gonna make our way up to around 546 up to $771. Which from current prices would be a nice 4.3x, 4.3 to 6.6x. Then I think we're going to stall out over here and form a local top. Now I could be wrong, and it could go higher towards 1100, 1500, and 1700. but that would imply that this is a wave 2. This is a wave 1. This is your wave 2. This is your third, come down for a fourth, and then we have a fifth wave like that. Okay, instead of topping out within this region, we would just come down to backtest the highs or around the highs and then continue up for your wave 5 for your last push up. But if this was your wave 5, then I think that would be the end of QNT, because that would mean on the macro perspective, we have 5 waves that have been put in here like this. So I think that it's going to take a little bit more time for QNT to get to those higher targets sitting at around 1100 to 1700, and instead it's going to form a bigger base for a wave 4. And then in the next cycle, we go up for a wave 5. But yeah, next point of interest on QNT would be sitting at 136 and 146. Just want to see a move above this supply zone, but I think we will get it. So right there at 101, if we can get a 4-hour close back above that level, then we should be headed towards this point of interest. Okay. Chris is saying Russell 2000 is almost at the 200 SMA. That's amazing. I was pointing out yesterday that the Russell 2000 was rallying back towards the 200-day moving average. Once we get a move back above the 200-day moving average, then it'll really fuel the pump in altcoins. Okay, so we're trading above the 50% fib. Next point of interest on the Russell would be at the 618. Sitting at 2181. As soon as you get above the 200-day moving average, then we would be targeting these highs here at 2471, because don't forget, this is our equal high buy side liquidity. I'll show you guys right here. Okay, see how you have equal highs over here? This is your equal high buy side. So if we get above the 200-day, then it opens the doors to a move back up to these highs. And this would just be the shakeout. Okay, so you have your 3 down in your A, 3 up in your B, and then a 5-wave move to the downside in your C wave. That's what I'm thinking here, going forward with the Russell 2000. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. Russell 2000 on the hourly time frame, finding a little bit of resistance at the supply zone here. So I want to see a move above this level. Okay, so DGaia is asking for XDC. I'm actually pretty bullish on XDC. I think it's going to sweep the highs. We can take a look at it right over here. So this is XDC on the hourly time frame. As you guys can see, this looks like your first pop to the upside right over here. And then we have a ABC flat correction, much like what XRP had. Like if you look at XRP over here, this was your flat over here, right, in a rectangular range, and then we had continuation up. So if we apply the same concept to XDC, we can see that it's pretty much the same thing. We are back above the 200-day moving average on XDC, so as long as we stay above 0.075, then it wouldn't surprise me that we have continuation up towards the higher retracement levels sitting at 0.096 and onwards. Like taking a look here at the daily time frame, this is what I'm thinking here on the daily time frame. We have a wave 5 of C of our larger B to the upside. Top targets would be sitting at around 26 to 34 cent. And then we have a 5-wave move down, right back down to these lows, back in the start of 2024. And that would make sense from the top here, about a 93% drop. And that's usually what altcoins go down by in the bear market, on average about 93 to 98%. Okay, we also notice a little bit of a slanted inverted head and shoulders pattern on XDC. Okay, this is your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder, and the minimum technical target of this inverted head and shoulders would be sitting right there at the 50% fib at a little bit shy of 11 cent. So 0.107. Yeah, so that's XDC. So Chris is asking, what are your thoughts on PDI pegging to $1? I don't think it's going to happen. That's just my bias. It could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen because people are they're going to sell into it. Like, I don't think it'll stay, like, I don't think it'll get up to $1. Like, as we get close to it, people will just sell it off. But I actually have some PDI analysis, but I don't have the contract address. So if you put the contract address in the chat, I can analyze it for you. So NNA is saying, Pip want to eat some cake. I love cake. That's such a good coin. Cake. I remember cake in the last bull run. And yeah, so we call the bottom on cake perfectly. It's moving up to the supply zone at $2.84. And like I said, we're going to move up to 284, 285, see a little bit of a decline, maybe 23.6 to 38.2% of the way down from this low. So like that, like around here, and then continue on higher. Look how many times we've tried to break out of this range. Right, 3 times already. So the 4th time we get up here, it'll likely be a successful attempt, and then we'll go ahead towards the high. We'll go ahead and make a move towards the highs of the range, sitting at $4.39 to $5. Now this is the linear chart. As you guys can see here, it's extremely squeezed. This is your Wyckoff accumulation range, spanning for over 1,000 days. So we would be looking at around $10 to $11 on cake. Taking a look here on cake on the logarithmic scale, we can see here that when we take a fib from the highest recorded price down to the spring, so the highest recorded price within the range down to the spring on February 3rd, I believe that was when when Bybit was hacked. And take a look at the 2.618 extension. You can see here that it's sitting right there at 11 to 12 bucks. Okay, so we'll probably do something like this. This is what I'm expecting on Cake. And then, like I was saying, we either come back down to backtest this range as support one more time, and then we pop off from there, or we just go ahead and attack the higher fibs, sitting at 19 and 14. Now, I would say it's less likely that we do that rather than find major resistance at 10 to 12, simply because when we take a look at the market cap chart on Cake, we can see here that the 786 is sitting at 3.6 billion, and 3.6 billion would be 10 to 12 bucks on the USD pair. So I expect to move up here like this. Okay, XRP is looking pretty good, reaching towards 257 and 259, above all of the hourly EMAs along with the 4-hour EMAs. Like I said in the previous video that I made on XRP, I think we go ahead and fill in this wick from yesterday. Looks like we're doing that right now. The highs of yesterday is sitting at 265. Let's take a look at API 3. I haven't taken a look at that coin recently, so we'll go ahead and take a look at it. And I'm going to show you all of the exit targets. So this is API 3. I think I made it on this chart here. Okay, so what I wanted to see on API 3 is a daily close above 86 cents. So we can confirm that this was just our manipulation below the range before we go in for expansion. As you guys can see, we have come down here on API 3 for your wave 2. Like around here. This is your wave 2. So this is your wave 1 to the upside, your wave 2. And now we're going in for a wave 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so something like this. That's what I'm thinking for API 3, as long as we stay above 0.864. So as long as we stay above that level, we should be good. Okay, so around this region, you'd want to be you want to be cautious holding API 3. So when we get back up to these higher retracements, you can see how many times the price has interacted with this level. Okay, it's used it as resistance many times. So I think we come back up to it. And then on the small time frame, this is your ABC correction. This is your A, your B, and then your C wave right here. And as long as we can stay above this daily close on April 12th, then we should be good for a move higher. Okay, let's take a look at, what should we take a look at next? Okay, so Chris Wilson was just giving me the contract address for PDI. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So this is PDI over here. We actually broke below. We broke below this channel here. So I believe in my last analysis I did say if we break below this 886, then it's likely doing the bearish scenario, right? I mean, this could make a rebound here. NNA is saying stop buying Phil. It's hilarious. Is Phil looking good here? Let me check here. Yeah, Phil is looking pretty good. But yeah, let's go back to PDI here. Do you guys see my screen? Just want to make sure. It's kind of hard to make a bullish scenario out of this. I mean, I would just consider it like a lottery coin. I mean, it could pop back up. This could be an ABC correction. And then we see a move back up to 0.007, right? If you get above 0.007, then we're going to go ahead and make a new high, likely to around 0.08, right here. But we must get above this level first, right here. Okay, we need to get above that level on the daily so we can confirm a move up here. Otherwise, it'll continue to descend, right? Filecoin is looking great. You know, this is exactly what I wanted to see on Filecoin, a move back towards $3.13 up to $3.44, up to $3.44. Once we can get above these two levels, then we know for sure this was our bottom, right? We have your left shoulder, your head, and then your right shoulder for a bullish inverted head and shoulders pattern. And I do think that we see a move up to around 17 bucks, 17 to 19 buck, right? This would be your 3-wave move up. This is your 3-wave move down. And then you have a 5-wave move to the upside. So something like this. Okay, so something like that. I think I made another fill chart over here. Not exactly sure where I put it. I think it's over here. Okay, yeah, it's right over here. So this is the daily time frame. Okay. See how we got up to my first point of interest here? Now I just want to see a move above 363 and then we're good to go. And then this is a big supply zone right here. We're going to see some resistance there, but eventually I think that we make our way towards 17 to 18 bucks. Maybe even 21. So in this red box, that's where you'd want to scale out for the anticipation of a move back down, because there's no guarantee that this is Wyckoff accumulation. This could be Wyckoff redistribution, where it's just an ABC up instead. You have deviation above the range, and then you have continuation down to stay consistent with the overall trend, right? So yeah, that's fill. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at Jasmy. Thank you so much, Digaya, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's take a look at Jasmy today. I believe we call the bottom on Jasmy. Okay, yeah, this is Jasmy right here. Okay, nice ABC correction. A running flat where the C wave fails to terminate beyond the bottom of your A wave. And then taking a look here at the daily time frame. We can see here we are above the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders pattern, making our way towards the 200-day moving average. As soon as you get above the 200-day moving average, then it's very likely we'll head towards the macro 702 and 786 retracement, sitting at 0.078 and a little bit shy of 12 cent, so 0.117. And this would be a wave 5, so once we get up here with Jasmy, be very careful holding on, because we could stall out over here. And on the macro time frame, you may even print a inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? But you don't want to be holding through this. So definitely see how the price reacts once we get up to these two levels. But going forward, what I see on Jasmy is a move towards the 200-day moving average, sitting at 0.023. Would be a nice 15% gain from current price, and these are all of the interim resistance levels. So once we get above the 200-day moving average, then we would be taking a look at the 618, 702, and 786. So get above the 200-day, then ultimately it will make its way towards 0.038, which would be about a 67% gain. But judging by the way this pattern looks, like this correction, it's very likely we'll breach the highs and then make our way towards 12 cent to finish up your macro wave 5. So this is your macro wave 5 right here. Do you guys see? And you know what marked the bottom on Jasmy? This bullish divergence right here. You see how you were bottoming out here for your wave 5 of 5? You had a lower low, but then a higher low on the daily RSI. Right here. Okay. Okay, so XRP on the 4-hour doesn't look too bad. Still grinding its way up above all of the 4-hour EMAs. So EN is asking for DGB. I'm actually so bullish on DGB. I'll show you guys DGB here. One other person in the chat was saying they haven't heard about it in ages. The reason for that is because it's just been grinding sideways for so long, right? So people have just forgotten about it. But this is the coin that's been quietly accumulated, or that's being quietly accumulated by market makers. Okay, as you guys can see here, this is over 1,000 days of accumulation. This is your spring, your test. This is your last point of support before we make our way back up to the highs of this range, sitting at the 618 and the 702 fib. That would be at 0.015 and 0.017. You may see some resistance come in there, but ultimately I do expect higher prices. I'm going to show you guys this chart over here. Okay, so this is DGB. These are all of the take profit levels. Now, coming down here to the 3-hour time frame, this was your shared support. You see this diagonal support here? You took out that trendline liquidity, so you took out the stops that are resting under this trend line, or anyone who went short upon a break below this trend line got liquidated right here, because it just came down to the 382 fib, and then blasted off back up to the highs. Now it's above this local supply zone at 0.014. So the next target, like I said, would be around here. See a little bit of a retrace, and then finally have an escape out of the range, like that. This was your spring right here. This level right here, that was your spring. This is your test, and this is your last point of support. Now we're going in for what's called a jump across the creek for your sign of strength, and then it's likely going to come back down to backtest the range for your backup phase. Okay, you want to look to TP at all of these levels here. You see how you have time and price-based capitulation here, going down by over 97%, and then going sideways for over 1,000 days. So when you have both of those things, then you know for sure that once this spring comes in, once you see deviation below the established support, that's when you should start to DCA in. And whenever you break below psychological support, never see it in a negative light, but you should see it from a place of opportunity, especially if price attempts to rally back towards this shared support, towards this resistance. So once you see price start rallying back towards it, then you have some idea that, oh, okay, this is probably just manipulation, and this is where smart money buys for the anticipation of distribution. So you have your accumulation here, your manipulation, and then your distribution. And that's exactly what we see with DGB. Accumulation, manipulation below psychological support, price attempts to rally back to this resistance. That's how you know that this is manipulation. And then now we have distribution to the upside. So yeah, looks pretty good. So OLF is saying, what will XRP do after topping out at 13? No, it will. So if it goes to 13 to 14 bucks, it's likely going to enter into a correction. It'll likely be a rolling top, right? It may not go straight down, but instead it may range sideways and then distribute and then come down. Back in 2017, we just went straight down, but we may see that, or it may just go sideways and then come down. So usually what I look for is, let's say you have this huge run up, right? And then the price starts to go sideways. That's how you know that a top is forming. Or if you even see a rolling top like this, then it's likely it's distribution. And now the same thing could be said for the downside as well, right? You see this explosive move down and the price goes sideways. Like that. So that's how you know with just market structure. But as we approach the highs, we'll definitely know. So Addo is asking for PulseX and incentive token. So I did take a look at PulseX and incentive. PulseX is gearing up for expansion out of its 2-year long range, and incentive token is gearing up for a move towards 16 to 26 bucks. So about an 85 to 95% correction. That's usually what we see with altcoins. Okay, so this is XLM over here. We are using this previous supply zone as support, so it's likely we'll head towards the higher retracements here, sitting at 36 cent and 41 cent. But like I drew on my previous chart, if we get above the supply zone, then we would be looking for a breakout above the November highs. Okay, so this is the chart right here on XLM. Okay, and I also did write here that bulls must get above the 200-day SMA. As you guys can see here, we're just consolidating under it. So as soon as you get that daily close above the 200-day moving average, then we can for sure confirm the bottom is in. It's very apparent that the bottom is in, but just for extra confirmation, a daily close above that 200-day at around 32 cent, 0.317 to 0.32, then we can confirm this wave 5 to the upside right here. Okay, let's take a look at Gala. Super bullish on Gala, guys. We call the bottom on Gala perfectly right here. Okay, these are the take profit levels on Gala. This is clearly a Wyckoff accumulation range. Right? We should see a move above the range towards 0.098 and 0.15. We may come to around 20 to 23 cent as well, and then see a move back down. So so once we get above the 200-day moving average, expecting a move up to this supply zone right here. See a little bit of a retrace, but then eventually get above it like this. And then come back down. So from an Elliott wave perspective, it would just look like a ABC correction, where you have a 3 up in your A, 3 down in your B, and then a 5-way move to the upside within your C. So I'm thinking this is Wyckoff redistribution, because we have a 5-way move down over here. This is your wave 1, your wave 2, your 3rd, 4th, and 5th. just like this. One moment, guys. I'm just gonna get some water. That's so hilarious. Kai is asking, didn't Pip say he's doing a face reveal when XRP hits $5? No, I said $10. 10 to 13. All right, let's take a look at PLS, CHK, and File. We'll also take a look at RSR. Aloha is asking, are you still bullish on Litecoin? I'm super bullish on LTC. This is LTC right here. Okay. We just had an ABC down to the 786 on Litecoin. Okay. So expecting a move up to around 339 and 509 and 564 just to fill in this channel that we have here on the daily time frame. Actually, the structure reminds me a lot like XLM. It's just that Litecoin is a little bit behind. So now that this ABC correction is finished down to this structural support, now that we've finally backtested this level that we've used so many times in the past, we can say that we're going to go ahead and go up for a continuation just to fill in this part of this channel. Okay. So this is probably your wave 1, your wave 2, and now we're starting our wave 3 to the upside, wave 4, and then you have your wave 5 like this. Okay, so probably something like this. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it does look like this ABC correction is finished. And we're back into this range and back above the 200-day. So yeah, really bullish on Litecoin. KDA is also a good one. That's a really nice setup. This is KDA over here. So this was your spring, right? We're doing our test, and then you have your jump across the creek. This would be your SOS, and then we would come down to backtest this range. Okay, so something like that for KDA. So it's very crucial that once the coin escapes the range, start to ladder out. This is where you should be laddering out on KDA. Here, here, and right here. Let's take a look at Tau. Okay, I think I put Tau on CoinTrader Pro, so let me just check here. Okay, yeah, it's not on here. Okay, there we go. That's Tau. And with Tau, this was your 5-wave move up. And this is your WXY correction. 3 down in your first leg, 3 up in your second leg, and then another 3 down within your third leg. What I've also noticed on Tau is that this is a double bottom Adam and Eve pattern. You can kind of consider it like a Darvis box where you have ranging like price action at the highs. So it looked like this. So this is your first low. You come up, you have a second low, and then you have continuation like this. So this is your double bottom Adam and Eve pattern. And this is the low. So yeah, that's Tau. Looks pretty good. It's going in for the third leg here. You can also take a trend-based fib to this from the bottom of your wave 1 to the top of your wave 1 and down to the counter trend. So yeah, around here. You may even overshoot the 4.236 and go right towards the 100% extension. That's something I've noticed is that in crypto, you overshoot the 4.236 by a little bit, and then you come down and then top out right after. So that's what I'm thinking here. So a nice 5 to 8x. That's what I'm thinking here for Tau. It's also above the 200 day, so looks pretty good. Very bullish on Cava. And yeah, we'll take a look at OGN and Popcat. I believe we called the bottom on OGN. Yeah, so we said that this over here was our spring on OGN. So I'm thinking this is a ABC correction to the upside. That's your A wave. That's your A wave. This is your B wave, sweeping the bottom of your A wave, and then we come up in a 5-wave move for your C wave. So something like this. So right around here is where you'd want to look to take profit on OGN. Right at 0.39 to 0.47. Now it does have the possibility to go higher, but you'd want to look to scale out 65% or more of your bag around here, just in case this is a C wave, not financial advice. This is just something I would do if I had OGN. Okay, that's your OGN. Okay, this would be your wave 1, and then your ABC here would be your wave 2. Then you come down for a wave 3 like that. Let's take a look at Cava. Cava is very strong over here. Okay, this is Cava right here. See how many times it's come up to this long-term resistance? So you see this long-term resistance over here, going all the way back to 2021. It's come up to tap it about 3 times now. This is your first time, your second time, and your third time. So if we can get a clean break above 55 to 60 cent, then we can say that the low is in, and it's likely we're going to have expansion out of this range towards the higher retracements. So we're looking at about a 3x to 7x right up to the 786 from this level. From the current price, it would be about an 8x towards the 786. Okay, what we can also do on Cava is take a fib from this drop-off point before we went down by over 78%. So if we take a fib from that high down to this low, you can get more confluence with the exit targets. So like right here. Okay, that's your TP2, and then finally your TP3 right here. Okay, it's just a huge falling wedge. And price is above the 200-day moving average. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Once we see that move above the 200, and we hold above it, then yeah, it's likely going towards these two levels here. As soon as you get above 55 to 60 cent, then you know for sure that this is the low. So we'd mainly be targeting this PD array on the weekly. So it's a weekly fair value gap and breaker block right over here. Right here at TP3 on Cava. Don't forget that Cava has been within this falling wedge for about 1,750 days, and then within this accumulation range. We've been in this range for 500 days, and then we slam down below the range for your manipulation, and then we have distribution. So it actually kind of reminds me of the structure of Casper, where this is your accumulation. For over 400, 500 days, you have a slam down for your manipulation, and then you have distribution to the upside. So as soon as you get above 55 to 60 cent, then it's likely the distribution phase is starting, and we can go towards our take profit levels. And if you notice, going all the way back to December 2024, look how well Cava held up. It didn't really have any significant dips to the downside. It actually maintained its posture above this structural support here at 38, 39 cent. Do you guys see that? Okay, and we're above the 200. Actually, yesterday we had a close above the 200. Last time we were above the 200-day moving average was March 10th and March 17th. So almost a month later, now we're back above it. So it looks pretty good. Hey Mina, glad to have you in the live. Hope your day is going great. Declan is asking, it is timing with the 30-minute pennant on XRP Bitcoin. The tie of the market, welcome bro. Hope all is well. Chauncey is asking, have you done PLS and PulseX? It's go time, yes, I've done it. Just go back in the video, you'll see it. I'll try to put the timestamp on it after this video so you can check out the recording. So Ty of the Market is asking, what is your target on others? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So this is others right here. As you guys can see, this was just a running flat pattern. A 3-wave move down in your A, 3-wave move up in your B, topping out in December, and then we had a 5-wave move to the downside within your C wave. We also formed an ending diagonal within your wave 5 of C. And now we're moving on our way to the upside. These are the interim resistance levels right here. Okay. Likely headed towards the 50% fib at 307 billion, but to answer your question, the ending target for others would be sitting at 653 to 761 billion. Okay. So it'll look like this. This is another chart that I made here on others. So I think we're going in for the last explosive wave to around that 660 billion to 770 billion region. Once we tap into this box over here, be very careful holding your altcoins or any altcoin that you have excluding or that's not in the top 10. And then looking at this on a linear perspective, this is what a blow off top should look like right here. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, this is others. I think you should start getting cautious around 560 billion, considering that is the 618 when we measure the fifth wave. Around 560 billion to 592 billion, start becoming cautious. But then as we approach 653 to 761 billion, that's when you know like the market is getting very overheated. The reason I say those numbers is simply because when we take a fib from the 2021 high down to the December 2022 low, the 1.618 and 1.702 is sitting right there, around the 753 to 788 billion region. And then when we take a trend-based fib to this to find our wave 5 target, the 786 is at 761 billion. Okay, so this is where you'd want to be cautious. So we're in wave 5 of 5, and as I showed you on the linear scale, the wave 5 is the most explosive. Do you guys see this? Right here. XRP is pumping. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's pumping. Looking good. So remember, like I said in today's XRP update, getting above 259, 2.5983 and 2.5796 on the hourly time frame would likely confirm a move towards the higher retracements within our reaccumulation range. That would be sitting at 271, 289, and $3.12. So the next point of interest after this level has been breached would be sitting at 271, and your subwave 5 of 3 can top out at any of these levels here. Okay. And we are filling in that wick. We're filling in yesterday's wick. So yesterday we had a little bit of a wick here. So it looks like we're just filling that in towards 265. Now, if we're unable to get above that level there on the hourly, then we're going to come down for an ABC correction. And then that would mean that this is your subwave 5 of 3. And this is your ABC down, like that. But judging by the way this looks, it's more likely than not we'll get over it. So Mr. Arnold is asking if we should measure the top target using the market cap or the coin price. Well, you can do it in both ways, right? Like if we take a look at the market cap chart on XRP, take a look over here, take a fib. So now this is your reaccumulation. This is your Wyckoff range right here. Okay. See? So if we take a fib from the drop-off point to the trough, so from the peak to the trough, the last peak to the trough before we entered into expansion, and take a look at the 4.236 extension, let me see here, it's sitting at around $791 billion. So let's see what that is. That'd be about $13. Yeah, 13.50. So yeah. It lines up with the USD price. The 3.618 would be at 467 billion. Let's see where that takes us here. 467. About 797. So around $8. And you can see how perfectly we topped out over here at the 2.618. You see how we topped out there? Or just shy of it? So we have a confirmed method to find the top using the market cap chart. It's by taking a fib from the last swing high to low before we enter into expansion. So from this high. on July 2023 down to this low. S&P 500 very, very bullish right now. Back above the 786. Okay, so AHA is asking for ATTH, so we'll take a look at ATTH coin. Let's check it out. ATH. Looks like just a straight line to the upside. So you can't really do too much TA on it. I would want to see which exchange has the most history. Yeah, so not much history is coming up for that coin, so wouldn't be able to do too much TA on it. But I mean, I think it can come up to this supply zone right here. Considering we are above the 200-day moving average, that would be sitting at 0.079 and 0.09. XRP is looking great. Even on the 3-day time frame, it's above all of the major EMAs. And like I was saying, I was telling you guys not to worry. This is just your creek down. Then you have your spring below the range, which is this guy right over here. You have your test. And now we're having a jump across the creek. So yeah, looks pretty good. Dent is pumping too. Nice, that's great. Thank you so much, Mr. Arnold. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Pew. Pew is asking, is it hard to do targets on memes like Shiba, Pepe for TP zone, and how long do last wave 5 take to top? So wave 5s they go rather quick, but it's not hard to do TP targets on Shiba or Pepe. We can take a look at SHIB. So this is SHIB right here. This is your ABC correction down for SHIB. And all we were doing was just coming down to backtest this accumulation range. And it looks like we're going to go in for your next leg higher. But I do think that it's just going to be a C wave. So you have a 3-wave move up for your A, 3 down in your B, and then... Or yeah, this is... Yeah, I think this is just going to be an ABC. Like this. And then we can take a fib from the March high down to the low here in April. And just take a look at all of these fibs here. So yeah, around this is where you'd want to take profit aggressively, right here. Because there's a possibility it's just going to be a sweep of the previous high in 2021. We stay above it for just a little bit and then come down in a 5-wave move. So it would look like this. Okay, that's what I'm thinking for Shiba. Okay, notice how Shiba came down to the 618702 retracement. So like right over here. But yeah, that's what I see on Shiba. This is Pepe, another ABC correction. And these are the targets for Pepe. So I think it's going to come up to the 3.618 extension, right up here. Maybe even tap into the 4.236 at 3010. Okay, that's Pepe. And then this would be your TP1, TP2, and then TP3. So from current prices, be about a nice 6x on Pepe. It may go higher than this, but so far this is what we see. From the bottom, that would be a 18x. But from current prices, considering it's now back above the 200-day, it would be about a 6x from the current price. Okay, let's take a look at Bonk. Anthony is asking for XDC. We took a look at XDC already. And we'll also take a look at Bitcoin dominance. So this is Bonk over here. Bonk is looking great. Actually reminds me a lot like Jasmy. If you take a look at Jasmy, it's the same structure. Or sorry, not Jasmy, it's, let me check here. It's a Caspa. So you guys can see. Same thing as Caspa, right? A rolling top. And you have so much people shorting this area. Because I remember there was so much talks on Caspa saying how this is a distribution structure. And yeah, it is a distribution structure. However, I think we have what's called a upthrust after distribution, where we see a push above the highs, one last push which shocks everyone, and then we come down for the bear. So same thing, I see the same thing with Bonk. Now what we can do to find the next targets on Bonk is simply just take a fib from this high in November down to this low, and these would be all of your targets here. So something like this for Bonk. We're back to the 200-day moving average, so there's no doubt that we've bottomed out. I do see us getting back above it. So let's take a look at XCN. So now XCN's a little bit tricky, right? Because XCN, there's a possibility that we've already topped out at the 786. So when we take a fib from the all-time high down to the low on XCN, we see that we already came up to this 786 level here, right? And now we've rejected at this intermediate 61.8% fib. So there is a possibility that that the top is already in on XCN and we come down towards 0.005. But the alternate scenario would be that instead of this being in ABC to the upside, it would just be a third wave, meaning this is your wave 1, your wave 2, 3, 4, with your fourth wave perfectly hitting the 200-day moving average and then popping up by over 240%. So yeah, this could be a fourth wave, and it would look like this. Now, we can only confirm that this is a fourth wave if we start reaching for these highs. So if we start reaching back towards 0.0243, or even back to 0.028, then it's very likely we're going to continue up for a wave 5. And the wave 5 target would be taking us right over here. At 10 to 14 cent. Okay? Like right here. And then it would likely top out there. Like it will likely just create it. It will likely come up to this supply zone or this weekly fair value gap right over here. You see this gap? It would just come up to this level. So 0.107, 0.122, and 0.137. That's your wave 5 target. Okay, market's looking great. Coins are reaching for their previous highs, and that's likely because of total 3. So always take a look at total 3, guys. It'll give you a little bit of a roadmap on where your favorite altcoin is headed. But yeah, it looks like we're reaching for yesterday's highs. So one of the members there wanted me to do Flare. I'm very bullish on Flare. Tom wanted me to check it out. And we did a full wave count there on Flare. This is it. Okay, so it is breaking out of this bullish ascending triangle. This was our compression pattern, and it has broken out. We have moved back towards the 200-day moving average, sitting at 0.02. It's very likely that we're going to see a push above the 200-day and then fulfill this wave count right here. So I'll show you the wave count and what it looks like. I'm just trying to find it. Okay, yeah, this is the wave count right here, going all the way back to May 2021. So we had a 5-wave move to the downside, and it looks like we're just completing your ABC correction up, and we're currently within the C wave. So from October 2023, we had a 5-wave move up with an extension in the 5th wave. This is your ABC correction down, and now we're coming up for a 5-wave move towards 30 cent. The reason I say 30 cent is because when we take a fib from this high in February down to this low, we do see that that's the 4.236 extension. But you'd want to look to take profit before that as well. It would be at around 11 to 12 cent, 16 to 19 cent, and then 25 to 30 cent. Those are the 3 take profit levels. This is Bitcoin dominance. I still think it's going to continue its descent towards the 200-day moving average. And that'll allow our alts to continue their rise. But yeah. It's actually reaching for yesterday's lows at 62.39%. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what's going on in the market. Wanted to answer some of your coin requests. If you guys like the live, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Click the link in the description below to join the Discord and to connect with me one-on-one. I will be doing another live stream maybe tomorrow or the day after. So definitely tune in for that and join the free Telegram chat so you guys can stay updated. Peace out and take it easy, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.